Welcome back and welcome to another movie reviews video. Movie reviews on here are always spoiler free, and I always leave timestamps in the description box below in case there is a particular movie you want to hear my thoughts on. I will leave last week's movie reviews video linked up here in case you want to hear what I think is the best way to watch Avengers Endgame. Nearly said Infinity War there. This week I saw 3 movies in the cinemas. I almost saw a 4th, but that just didn't happen. I saw one that I absolutely hated, one that I enjoyed, and one that I loved. So it was a good balance. Obviously, I wish that I hadn't gone ahead and bought a ticket for the one that I absolutely hated, because I hate the fact that I then gave money towards this movie. But hey, you know, that's what happens, and then I can come on here and talk to you about the fact that you should stay away from this movie. So the first movie I saw this week, unfortunately, was the one that I hated, and this movie is called Unplanned, and the premise behind this movie is about a woman who works in a Planned Parenthood clinic. And I watched the beginning of this movie and I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. This is definitely showing the positives of her career and the positives of Planned Parenthood. And then I was like, this feels like it's kind of slightly demonizing the pro-life people. It's obviously this is obviously a very pro-choice movie. And then the boss of the clinic kind of character becomes introduced. There's a lot of flashing back and forwards, but when the clinic manager becomes introduced into this one, she basically plays a villain, and she almost plays a complete, like, properly, like, hammed up, almost pantomime villain. I felt like if I hadn't been the only person in the movie theatre, we almost would have like booed and hissed when she came on the screen. And that's the point where the movie kind of turned slightly, and I began thinking, I'm not joking about the fact that I kind of thought to myself, oh, this is a very pro-choice, pro-Planned Parenthood film, and it's being a little bit tough on the pro-life people that stand outside the Planned Parenthood site. And then I actually thought to myself, oh, now we've kind of turned a bit of a corner. I wonder why they've made this woman out to be, you know, such an evil person. This is based on a true story, so maybe she really was an awful boss. And then we carry on and carry on. And suddenly, when you're so far into the movie that it's not worth walking out of the movie, it becomes a very pro-life, anti-Planned Parenthood, anti-pro-choice movie, right down to the fact that it gives you like phone numbers to call if you work for Planned Parenthood or work for somewhere that provides terminations to women. The movie is also very graphic, you know, showing procedures and showing a lot of blood and pain that people are in. I maybe should have walked out at that point and demanded a refund, but it just made me so angry, the fact that they kind of don't market it as having a side at all. And so I was like, okay, this movie's going to be interesting. The person that the main character that we follow has a family, and you know, she wanted to get a good career, and so she's gone into this career, and it's working for a multinational company. And yeah, no, it in no way is marketed as something that is like anti-Planned Parenthood and anti pro-choice in any way. And I felt so angry leaving the cinema, and I still feel angry now. And I feel angry that, yeah, I gave money towards this film, and I feel angry that it was just such a one-sided, unbalanced film. And I feel angry at the messages that came up on the screen at the end of the film. I walked out the film so angry. It was really bad. It's a good job that, you know, I didn't have to go straight to work after that one, so I would have been stomping around. So yeah, really don't recommend that one. Really didn't enjoy it. I'm sorry about the rant that I've gone on about that one, but I think that regardless of your opinions on that subject, the fact that this film was just so one-sided and so unbalanced and made this Planned Parenthood clinic boss and the company as a whole out to be, yeah, this pantomime villain, this like ultimate in evil. Like, I've almost felt like they should have like the evil, like James Bond villain type in there, or evil music come on whenever they were on the screen. So we're done with that one. I need some more coffee after that. So the second film I saw, I actually saw right after that one. I was able to do a double header this week. And I wanted to see a couple that weren't massive, big blockbuster films after having watched Avengers 4 times in like the previous week and a half. So I went to see Family, which is an indie film. It stars Taylor Schilling of Orange is the New Black fame. She is a very career-driven woman who's very successful, and then her brother calls and says, look, we need someone to look after my daughter, your niece. We have a family emergency. My wife needs to go and be with her family. We have no one else to look after her. Believe me, you're our last resort. And the kind of, you know, the inevitable, as we know from this type of film, kind of learning curve that the auntie goes on and that the niece goes on, and the emotional roller coaster and the journey. But it's interesting because I have seen a few films that follow that same trope and that basic same plot, but they've always been kind of very much the romantic comedy side of it, and kind of there hasn't been one for a while, I feel like. So this was very much in today's society, and in today's society of, you know, now we know it's not okay to body shame, and now we know it's not okay to impose gender stereotypes, and the auntie is very much like, why is your mum sending you to ballet every week when you'd much rather be next door doing karate? Mom says that we have to get this dress for the dance on Friday, but, you know, niece wants to have this velvet suit, which is fabulous. And yeah, I liked how it was definitely a dark comedy. There are some bad things that happen. There is a lot of bad language used. We get to see our main character's career be affected, sometimes negatively, sometimes positively, and kind of a bit of a look into that whole, when you're scared to take any time off because you're worried that someone's going to come along and steal your job while you're out of the office, so you just live to work, not work to live. So that was interesting. I laughed out loud. This film was a little busier, even though it had been running for a couple of weeks, and it is an indie film. So it was nice to have other people in the cinema rather than just, you know, being on my own hating the film in the previous cinema. But yeah, it was really good, and I definitely recommend it if you get a chance to see it whilst it's in the cinemas. If not, when it comes onto a streaming service, or you're able to get it from a rental service of some kind, I definitely recommend it. It was fun. And then the film that I absolutely loved this week, I kind of knew going into it I was going to love it. I'd loved watching the trailers, and I like this kind of film as well, and that was Long Shot, starring Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. She is the Secretary of Defense and a possible presidential candidate. He is the boy next door that she used to babysit, and is now a very, very liberal journalist in Brooklyn. And inevitably their paths cross, and all kinds of fun and humorous events and serious events occur. It is very, very funny. It felt like it really could have happened. I loved the little nods to the fact that the TV shows that were talking about her were just worried about the fact that she was a woman and what she was going to do if she won the presidency as a woman, and how, you know, we can't give the same level of respect to her because she's a woman. And now we've got Jeremy Piven coming on to talk about how we should be treating women, and there was just lots of little things in there that were wonderful to see and wonderful to notice, and lots of kind of your classic Seth Rogen comedy. I thought Charlize Theron was wonderful in it, and interestingly, the last thing that I saw her in was Tully, which was almost a year ago now. I think I saw it during the summer last year, and so for her to be playing that role and then be playing this role kind of showed me her versatility, because she's been in quite a few kind of actiony type things that I haven't seen. Seeing her in Tully, and then the next film I'm seeing her in is this, where, you know, Tully, she plays a brand new mum. This one, she plays a very skinny, put together female politician, and it's just polar opposites of characters, and so she really showed her versatility. And I thought that I really loved the way Seth Rogen's character in this film just says it like it is. He speaks his mind, he kind of says what we're all thinking, and he's not afraid to hold back. I think being in the field of journalism and also working for the very liberal publication that he does, I think allows him to just say these things and go and tell the, you know, very conservative media mogul who thinks because he owns most of the airwaves, he literally owns all the people on them as well. Just what an arsehole he is. And I really recommend this one. I'm sure it is still playing in cinemas where you are, because it came out the week after Avengers came out, so I'm pretty sure it's still going to be playing. So definitely recommend going and seeing this one. And it was just a pleasure to go and be able to laugh at it and be able to have a good time. It was fun, and I definitely recommend. Okay, as always, let me know in the comments if there is a particular movie you would like to hear my thoughts on. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that next Sunday's movie reviews video lands in your subscription feed. And hopefully this week I should have my bookish content up on Tuesday and Thursday. I only managed to get one thing up last week, apologies for that. But if you enjoy bookish content as well, then make sure you subscribe so that those land in your subscription feed. As always, I will be back with more movie reviews videos for you next Sunday and bookish content in the week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.